Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Before I Do, the show that shares everything that should be done before saying I do. So whether you are dating, in a relationship, single, want to be married, don't know if you want to be married, you are tuned into the right show. It is our honor. It is our responsibility. It is our job to make sure that we facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships.
Absolutely. And this show is meant to be interactive. So what that means is when we pose a speak now, forever hold your peace question, we want to hear from you. We want to know your opinion, your thoughts, your experiences, what advice you've been giving your friends. Is it good advice? And just chime in, engage with us.
Absolutely. So this is actually part 2 tonight of epic proposals. We shared the story last week where we actually got the chance to attend an engagement party of Tina and Fred. I was saying the man all name wrong because I was thinking of somebody else with the same last name. So again, I apologize, Fred. But we actually got a chance to attend an engagement party, which was supposed to be a birthday party for Fred, which actually ended up being an engagement party specifically for his fiance. So everything that had been planned and done with the intention in her mind of being to celebrate his birthday was actually for him to propose to her.
And it was the best birthday present ever.
Yes. And so we talked last week about a couple of tips and we highlighted some epic proposals and we couldn't get to them all. So what we decided to do was to do a part 2 of epic proposals. What are some of the rules of engagement and this whole idea of even proposing? Are they still even important to do? Do they have to be so formal? Do they have to be this big deal, this to-do, this celebration? And so is it a thing that needs to be done? There's a question on the floor, ma'am.
There is a question. And I'm going to answer this very important question by saying, Mr. Walter Jennings, will you spend the rest of your life with me? Will you be my husband?
I will, but I already said yes.
You're supposed to say yes.
I did say yes. I said yes 23 years ago.
You gonna be one of those dudes that say, I said I love you 23 years ago too?
Yeah, I mean, no, I say I love you on a regular basis too. But
y'all gotta tune in not only tonight, but next week as well, because we're talking about women who propose. Absolutely. Did you feel a little bit awkward?
I felt very awkward. It was very uncomfortable. It was I would say problematic. So,
we're gonna talk about that next week, okay?
Absolutely.
Will he say I do, and is he uncomfortable saying I do? But this week we're talking about rules of engagement, and we want your journals out. We want your experience, your feedback. Be ready because we have some great tips for you to make sure you have the most epic proposal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we talk about proposals, we did have a couple of statistics for you all. Obviously, people do in this day and age still believe that proposals are an important part of the marriage process. So the most popular time of year to actually propose is Christmas.
Did you know that?
So there are more proposals that take place during Christmas Eve, between Christmas Eve and New Year's Day than any other time. So 15% of proposals actually happen during the Christmas, New Year's Day holiday season.
Okay, but this was really interesting because actually the most romantic day. The most romantic day to propose. Come on, guess. We know you can guess. What's the most romantic day of the year to propose? You guessed it. If you thought or said Valentine's Day, you are absolutely correct. 36% of people propose on Valentine's Day.
No, that's not right.
No.
36% of people believe that Valentine's Day is the most romantic day to propose.
Got it.
But only 8% of proposals only happen on that day.
Okay, so what's up with that?
Yeah. So basically this whole idea of Valentine's Day, because it is such a romantic and a holiday that is built around love, it takes the suspense out of it. And so what happens is that a lot of people, a lot of women are already thinking that something is going to happen. They're expecting something to happen. And because wedding proposals are supposed to have an element of mystery and surprise, then that kind of takes the element of surprise away.
Okay, well, I'm going to say this because please don't be that person. Don't be that person that buys the present on Valentine's Day. And this might be a whole sidebar, but it has to do with proposals, okay? And then you are that person who gets madly disappointed because you get a piece of jewelry that happens to be packaged in the same size box as a ring box. Don't buy it. Don't buy somebody some earrings, okay? When you know, y'all been talking about marriage and long-term plans, or at least one of y'all have been talking about it, and then you happen to buy, a gift that's in the same size box as a ring. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Do not buy earrings and don't put them in the box. If you do, don't put them in the box because that's the same size as a ring box.
Well, the elders used to tell me don't judge a book by its cover. The bottom line is before you get excited, you better make sure to check in what's inside first. So before you get mad because you got your hopes up because your expectations were set based on what was seen on the outside.
This seems a little personal.
I'm just saying. Make sure that you check inside.
You did that for me.
First.
Did you do that to me?
I do. I can neither confirm nor deny those allegations. But what I can say is before your expectations begin to spike, make sure you check inside first. But interestingly enough, Charmaine, as you mentioned, Valentine's Day is the most popular day in the mind of people that they believe that proposals should happen. However, they happen during the holiday season. And one of the other reasons is also because of the family element. Normally during that time as well, people are congregating together. They're having social outings. There's also time that's taken off of work because there's downtime. And so it does provide a lot of opportunity there. And again, notice the window between Christmas and also New Year's Day. So you already have this festive atmosphere, this spirit. It's obvious. It's one of my favorite times of year for a myriad of different reasons, but it does set a really great environment for being able to propose because of all the various things that come along with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so do we want to roll into our first Speak Now Forever Hold Your Peace?
I think that we absolutely should. So, question number one.
All right, question number one on a scale from 1 to 10. How important is the wedding proposal to you and why? Is it a big deal? Is it something that you think, it really doesn't matter as long as they ask? What, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is the ask, is the proposal, the whole experience? Would you rate it a 10? Would you rate it a 5? Or would you say, man, for me, it's about a 1. We want to know. So go ahead and definitely speak now or forever hold your peace. We want to know what is your rating. And so I'm going to start with you.
You going to start with me?
Yes. What is your rating?
So I think, for me, it's definitely a 10. I think that, again, it sets the precedence for the marriage and the fact that I value you, I know you, I love you. I'm going through this process of setting up this invitation, this ask in a very formal way that I put thought into it, that that I care about you. And part of it is also because of the seriousness of how I view marriage. I'm asking you to do life with me. I'm asking you to come under my leadership, which we'll talk about next week. And so there's a whole lot of various elements when we talk about the proposal. And I think it is very important. I think that more than just being symbolic, I think that it also is a communication as well to not only your spouse, your potential spouse, but also to your family and her family as well, whether you do it in their presence or not. Even things like, as again, we'll talk about this whole idea of I had a conversation with your father and I lived. So during the time, I actually lived 6 hours away and I was ready to make that drive specifically to have the conversation to ask for his daughter's hand in marriage. And he called me back. He said, listen, I know what you want to talk about. He says, you don't have to make that drive. I've had the chance to observe you and I would be honored for you to ask my daughter to marry you. And that was, for a man to hear that from another man, that was one of the most affirming experiences that I've had. Just to have another man essentially saying that I believe in you enough to say that my daughter would be in good hands and you're going to take care of her the way that I would, or even better than I would. So I believe the proposal is absolutely important.
And what did my older brothers say?
Your brothers tried to get me. They were very concerned, and we've been married for a long enough time now to be able to have some transparency and truth. But they absolutely were concerned about you. They thought you were getting married too young. They wanted to make sure that you lived enough of your life, and I reassured them that I shared the same concern as well. But that we had a conversation, and this was something that you wanted. You weren't being coerced. You weren't being pressured. You weren't pregnant. This wasn't a wedlock. This wasn't a wedlock shotgun situation. This was something that we both wanted, even though we were young.
Yeah. So it's a 10 for you, and I will admit, to me, it is. The entire experience is very important, but for me, most importantly, for my father to give approval, for you to ask my father, to give my father the respect. That was big to me, as well as the authenticity of the ask. And so, yes, the proposal is important because, it's not like, hey, will you marry me? And it's like, no, for you, I knew in you asking and how you asked, it was just so, it was very authentic. I could see the love. I could see the power of, and it's just your heart, the vulnerability of your heart. And that made it like epic for me. And, we didn't have to be on the top of the Eiffel Tower or whatever. It was my family. It was your family. And it was the ask. So it was amazing. And it was on my birthday.
Yep. And we had our wedding day on my birthday.
Absolutely. So, a year later?
Yep. A year later on my birthday. Hey, so again, our Speak Now question of the night, number 1 is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is the wedding proposal to you and why? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat. We are going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Before I Do.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Welcome back, everyone, to Before I Do. Tonight, we are talking about epic proposals, rules of engagement. So again, our Speak Now question of the night is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is the wedding proposal to you? And once again, we do have a couple of tips. If you do value wedding proposals, a couple of things to bear in mind as it relates to some of the things you want to have in consideration as you craft your proposal.
I mean, and we rated it a 10. I rated it a 10. Walter, his rating was a 10. However, we rated it a 10 for very different reasons. And some people, it's about the pomp and circumstance. Some people, it's about the people that were there and involved with the process, right? For everyone, there's something different. So whatever your rating is, it goes back to really, it usually connects back to your value system. And so get ready, get your journals out, get ready. We want you to know, again, what are the rules of engagement. So you want to go to our first tip?
Absolutely. So You've met the one that you want to be the love of your life. You're ready to pop the question. So we talked about 4 tips that are great to keep in mind. So we have 4 more for you tonight. Tip number 1.
Tip number 1, you need to do your research.
Yes.
We said it. Do please do your research, family and friends. Okay, just like you see the image before you. You know, this was a situation where she was proposed to at one of the biggest games of the season. And how would he know that? I mean, look at the expression on everyone's face. Do your research, right? You wouldn't want to propose if it literally was maybe the most high stressful time of the year of your partner, and maybe they can't even fully be engulfed and enjoy the process. So think of your partner, think of them. If you want to make this grand gesture, should it be intimate? Should it be public? Who should be there? Should the family and friends be there? Again, what truly matters to your partner?
Yeah, that is huge, because we often see people who they believe that just the ask is good enough.
Right.
And sometimes it is. You want to be direct, and that's important. But again, the type of proposal that you craft says as far as how well you know your partner.
Absolutely.
The things that it allows you to really showcase your ability to be attentive, your ability, again, to do your research, your ability to also to plan and to coordinate and to save money. Like there are a lot of different factors that go into the wedding proposal that are really on display and that you are going to use and show within your marriage. And so those things, you begin to allude to them when it comes to the planning process of the proposal. So it's very important that you take that into consideration, because again, what may be a soccer game for this gentleman worked out really well, but because you love soccer does not mean that you should necessarily propose to your mate at a soccer game. So it's very important to make sure that you take that into consideration. All right. Tip number 2, you want to make sure that you share the process, but own the decision. Now, what do we mean by this? What this means is that your spouse, if they have a best friend, if they're close with their family, identifying, first of all, who are going to be those advocates, those partners, those individuals that are going to give you good, wise counsel as it relates to things that your future spouse would enjoy in that proposal. Making sure you get their input, making sure you keep that circle small, though. Everybody doesn't need to know what it is that you're planning on doing it and how you're doing it. But there are some confidence on your future spouse's side that you may want to consider consulting about what it is you're purposing to do. Now, in that process, it is important for you to own the overall final decision, because that is a precursor to, again, some of the things that are going to be important as it relates to the culture of your marriage. And often what we see is that with couples, they are listening to the wrong people. And that didn't start when they got married. It started with individuals that had their ear before they got married. These are friends and individuals who may be, as Charmaine likes to say, they may be a friend to you, but are they a friend to the marriage? Absolutely. And so this is a great opportunity to identify those individuals, to consult them and see how they handle some of the information and assisting you in the planning process. Right. Are they trying to take over? Do they get mad when you don't do what it is that they suggested for you to do? Are they trying to micromanage you? Are they going behind your back and sharing information with her about it and spoiling the surprise because you're not doing what it is that they want to do? Those are telltale signs of individuals that may not necessarily be good to carry either into the relationship, or not saying that you want to force your spouse to get rid of them, but it is important to know exactly who you're dealing with.
Absolutely. And, we definitely, again, an individual can be, I can't say it enough. An individual can be a friend to you and not a friend to your relationship. Absolutely. And so definitely make sure that last tip is so important about making sure you own your decision and don't allow people to hijack it. Absolutely. All right. And so did you want to go to our comment? We hear you. We see you,
Mr. Trees.
Yes.
So she's answering our Speak Now question number
Absolutely.
1, which was on a scale of 1 to 10. How important is the wedding proposal? Patrice says 10. And
10.
She said, we blessed her soul hearing how I honored my wife. Well, thank you so much. Beautiful. I appreciate that. And it was, again, even with the tip that we just gave, I was a young man. I was probably around 22, 23 years old, had just graduated from college. And so, again, I knew it was her birthday. It fell on Thanksgiving. And so thinking about when to do it, wanted to do it in front of her family because I knew her family was important to her. And so made a plan to go down for Thanksgiving, told my parents about it, and made the decision to actually take my family with me. So I actually proposed to her again in front of my family and in front of her family. And so that was in a way good, but what it also did, again, and this goes back to that tip, is we included our family in that process.
Yes.
And so we've had to be careful over the years of making sure that they haven't become intrusive when it comes to our relationship and our marriage. We know they love us. We know they mean us well. We know that they were there to see us get engaged, but that does not authorize them to have a voice in each and everything that we do within our marriage.
Street translation. You better make sure you guard your marriage.
No doubt.
Okay, it is. Tell them to touch their nose. It's none of their business. And you know what? The bottom line is, they don't know anything about your relationship that you don't write them an invitation to know. And so sometimes we can be the very cause of some of the conflict in our relationships when we give people an invitation and insight on our relationships. There's certain boundaries that I have had to keep. And one thing we like to tell couples that we counsel is your credit score is always going to be redeemable to your family. But your spouse, their credit score it starts at a perfect rating and it only goes down from there. So you want to be careful the things that you say that can discredit them, because again, sometimes our families, they're not as forgiving.
Well, I want to dispute that. I'm gonna push back against that a little bit. If you are the spouse and with her family, your credit score don't always start out high. Your credit score is actually based on the information and how she has presented you to her family.
This is true.
And so I'm just saying, some of us start here and got to work our way up, but some of us can start here, and then you got to be careful that you don't get knocked down, down to the 400 and 500s. And so it is important. The point that you're making is very valid. That her family is always going to love, accept, and support her. And so with me, I have to be, she has to be careful of what she shares with them about me, because again, they're going to always have her back, as they should. And so we've learned, I especially have learned when it comes to information, when we're walking through certain challenges, different things, being careful who I share what with. And so that is a really important thing, because you want to ensure that your family members are, again, as you all make up, family does not forget.
Oh no,
family does not
that
forget.
Credit score is still, and your credit score is still a concern.
So Charmaine, you actually mentioned something as we're talking about these epic proposals, right? And there are some amazing proposals that have taken place all over the world. As you all have seen from the photos, there are some really unique proposals that are taking place. You saw the soccer game that's taking place. You see this gentleman here
with the dolphin. Will you marry
exactly.
Me?
So a lot of
pet proposals are popular.
a lot of coordination, a lot of money. So this actually leads into our second Speak Now question of the night. Would you ever respond to a public proposal? No. So we're talking about an individual that this is in front of a whole lot of people. This has now become a spectacle.
I mean, epic. I mean, you talk like there are hundreds of people there. Like maybe they did it at a concert. Maybe they did it just this very, very public place. Maybe it's in front of your entire church congregation or your entire sorority or fraternity. Like it is a public spectacle. Maybe it's in the middle of the mall. We've seen those types of things as well, right? And so, but you're not ready. And so what do you do when you're in that dilemma? Well, this proposal comes. You obviously didn't know it was on its way, and it happens, and you absolutely know you have no intentions of marrying this individual in the current state of the relationship, or just maybe ever. Okay. What do you do? And so talk to me about that. So you've been dating a woman, and she pops a question. Y'all been dating maybe a year or two, and she's like, look, and has this grand gesture. She is in love, and she proposes to you in a very public.
First and foremost, you keep trying to get into next week right now. Stop trying to bait me. Everyone next week is gonna be a barn burner. We are talking about, should a woman propose to a man? We've been talking about proposals, so next week we're gonna get all in it. We're talking about, should a woman propose to a man, and Charmaine keeps trolling me and trying to bait me into this situation now. But
okay.
But to be honest, and I don't know if it's ego or just confidence on my part, but to be honest, like, I never thought about no. Like I did. I never, like, for me, I never thought about no, because I would never ask unless I was certain that she was certain. Okay. Like, so I'm just saying that.
And we have to talk about this, because let's be honest. Okay. And our young people, this is a whole thing. Promposal.
Right.
Promposal, where they are like literally making these grand gestures to ask this individual to prom or homecoming or these things. So it is not just exclusive to marriage. Like, people are making public declarations of their love, affection, and things like that.
And that is completely legitimate, though. And again, I hadn't thought of it until when we talked about this topic years ago. I was like, wow, I never thought of that, as far as, would I want someone to lie to me in the moment, or would I want them to be truthful and honest in that moment at the expense of my heart, and just, just everything that happens in that moment could be such a demoralizing, like, totally catastrophic thing to the person that is going through putting all of this together.
So we want to know from you, what would you do? What would your response be? A very public place. I want you to think about the most public place that you have ever been in, where people know you, okay? And this, it's happening like slow motion. The person starts to go down on their knee. You probably been dating 5 months, 6 months. Y'all have been attached. What would you do? But absolutely, you have no intentions on marrying this person, probably ever. Would you choose to just be honest and operate in integrity in that moment and say no? Or would you spare them from that and operate more in empathy? Absolutely. We want to know. Come on, let us know. What would you do?
Miss Patrice, you laughing in the chat. I need you to put an answer. Don't just be you laughing at somebody's pain. Hey, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more. Before I do, again, our Speak Now question number 2. Would you ever respond with a public proposal with a no? And we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to Before I Do. We are talking about rules of engagement. And before our break, we pose our second Speak Now Forever Hold Your Peace question, which is, what would you do? How would you respond if you received a very, very public proposal? Everybody is there. They're watching. The person goes down on their knees. You have no intention of marrying this person. What would you do? Okay. Would you tell them no publicly, or would you tell the truth in that moment, or would you spare them and go a more empathetic route.
Now,
so we want to hear from you.
Yeah, now we want to hear from you all, but you heard from me. So what about you? What would you do?
Okay, I'm just going to tell you, I believe in telling people the truth. Believe me. Okay. Anybody who knows me, they know sometimes we hear the truth from you, Charmaine, and we don't even want to hear the truth. Okay. I believe in operating in integrity and telling people the truth. But y'all, in the moment like this, to be honest, I would not want anyone to be publicly humiliated. And I try to be very careful with people's hearts. And so with that, I will admit, I would operate more in empathy in that moment. I would say yes. I would tell them I would be more meek and mild, yes. And, allow them to just tell people we broke up a week later or something. We got in a bad fight. I don't know. But I wouldn't want them to be publicly humiliated. But I understand that it is an integrity issue if I know I have no intentions on marrying this person.
Absolutely. And so, it's a difficult situation, and it actually leads into our next tip, which is being careful and cautious about combining your proposal with another event, a special occasion, a holiday, a public platform, a large place where there are a lot of people. So here you see this gentleman, he's proposing on the stage during a concert of a favorite band. He said, I was shaking. This is from the woman. She says, I was shaking and couldn't stop smiling. I listened while the man of my dreams knelt and proposed to me, echoed by cheers of 7,000 supporters. Now that sounds great, right? But what if she said no? What if this didn't turn out as a happily ever after, but as a never, oh no again? So this is one of those situations where you have to be careful. And we spoke earlier about the most popular time for people to propose is actually between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And so, again, there are a lot of different things going on, a lot of different gatherings. And so you have to be very intentional. What we say is that if you're going to propose in combination with a holiday or an event, you want to make sure that it is intentional, that you have your partner in mind. And again, that the proposal that you've gotten clues that this person wants to marry you. Like, that is a really important part of it.
You're very passionate about that.
No, and that's, part of the reason why that's important, because sometimes people believe that they can sway this person. They're trying to actually convince them with the proposal. And the person should already be convinced before you propose. This isn't it's not that us getting married, you asking me to marry you is a surprise. It is how you're doing it. So it shouldn't be you asking me asking you to marry you is a surprise. It's the whole idea of how I'm doing it, where I'm doing it. That's where the surprise and the shock and the awe comes in.
Agreed. And even though this was a very public proposal, 7,000 people had their eyes on this young woman, okay? And her favorite group was there. Is she really gonna say no, though, in front of her favorite rock or her favorite music group?
She would be one of the most savage individuals I've ever heard of.
As a matter of fact, it almost might put the person who you are proposing to in a bad place if you have 7,000 people with their eyes on them. That's 14,000 eyes on them. And so really, let's be honest. If she says no, I don't know. I think she has a 50% chance of being that chick, but she also has a 50% chance of being the bitch who broke that man's heart, and I would never date her. Like, she might be the billboard for a campaign of,
All I know is I got to move. I got to. You say no, and I got to move. I got to move because you minding your business.
You're going to be a meme for the next 10 years.
And, people just walking up to you, I'm so sorry. And it's like,
hey, you're the guy.
Exactly. I'm so sorry. She's horrible for what she did. It was a great concert, though.
Yeah, that walk of shame. All right, so you ready for our next tip? Our next tip is take your time with the moment. I have to say that in slow motion.
Sure do. Say it just like that. One more again.
All right, our tip is take your time. You need to take your time and you need to get it right. Okay. Spend time in that moment. I don't know if you can see. All right. But there is a couple. Okay, there is a couple in a cave. I mean, it's dark, it's cool, but there is a beam of light shining down upon them. Okay, this is a moment. Okay, family and friends. Okay, they're inside the world's biggest cave. So not only did this epic proposal, they chose a destination that is gorgeous. Okay, this looks like the heavens are shining on them. Okay, and I'm sorry, God Himself is saying, I agree, I give you my blessing. Okay, this person was so strategic. Okay,
Yep.
so the comment was, I dropped to one knee and asked my girlfriend of 6 years, Alicia, to marry me. You better ask, okay? You better drop down on your knees and let her know, yes, you are the goddess, okay, to my king, okay? So, this was just a beautiful moment. And it is, I mean, just the fact that they were able to capture this, I think is gorgeous.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that the statistics also said is that when it comes to proposals, right? Of all the pomp and circumstance of doing a poem and all this, the person that is being asked just wants you to ask the question.
They just want you to ask,
like, just ask. Like, so it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be from the heart. It has to be genuine. It has to be intentional. But you want to make sure that you directly ask the question. Charmaine, Melissa Smith Jennings, you complete me. And I am so thankful to do life with you. And I want to know, would you spend the rest of your life with me? We've gone 23 years. And I want to know if you will go another 23 more with me.
Amen. Yes, I absolutely
That's how you do
will.
that.
I was going to say yes before you finish. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another edition of Before I Do. Again, we are Couples Academy practitioners,
Yes.
so we are here to serve you. So please be sure to visit us at couplesacademy.org. Book us for a session. We do both individual and couples counseling. And so we would love to speak with you about your life path and your relationship journey. And you are always in a relationship with yourself. So
Absolutely. And we're going to tell you, we love this work.
Yes.
Okay. We love it because it helps couples to build a solid foundation. And it doesn't matter what age range you're in, it's always good to be able to audit who you are, how you're showing up in your relationship with yourself, and how that is expressed with your loved one. So book us for a session. And if you are not ready or at a place where you're about to, get engaged, you know what we encourage you to do? This is one of the best gifts you can give your children, right? Your niece and your nephew who just got engaged. You know someone who just got engaged, or they're thinking about getting engaged, or they're talking about marriage. The best gift that you can pour into them, it's not just going to scan a gift at the store that they have on their registry. It is giving them the gift of a solid foundation in their relationship. And so again, book some sessions for them and gift it to them. And we're your Couples Academy practitioners, and we thank you for tuning in tonight on our show about rules of engagement, epic proposals.
Be sure to tune in next week. We are getting into it. Yeah. Should a woman propose to a man? We need y'all to tune in. Get your questions and your comments ready, and we look forward to it. We'll see y'all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.